Come join us on an adventure through musical history as we follow the footsteps of rock and roll's most legendary characters. You may have heard the saying that the three most important elements of real estate are location, location, location. The property we're about to show you is not only in a highly regarded location, it is also unlike any property we've presented in the past. And there are many factors that contribute to this property's uniqueness, including its size, price point, and historical significance. If you have knowledge on collectibles, antiques, artifacts, and relics, you understand the importance of historical significance and how historical relevancy impacts the desirability and value of a particular item. People collect all kinds of things, including fine art, timepieces, jewelry, furniture, books, militaria, toys, instruments, stamps, comics, coins, sports cards, and memorabilia. Some people collect motorcycles, cars, homes, and even land. Of all the aforementioned items, I prefer land. I like the tangibility of land, its long-term utility, wide variety of uses, and hard asset attributes. The love I have for land goes back to my birth, and throughout my lifetime, I've conservatively looked at over 1 million properties in some capacity. Over the past 10 years, I've completed more than 1,000 land transactions as the principal investor in these transactions. This is in addition to all of the property owners, agents, and brokers we have collaborated with through our marketing services. When this property you're about to see was initially presented to us by the owner, I knew it was something special. I've been to the area where the property is located and driven by it on more than one occasion. Within any major market, there are always sub-markets and micro-markets that have their own unique characteristics. This property is in one of those desirable micro-markets with a lot of appeal and historical significance. When I was a child, my dream was to make movies. And the movie that planted the seed of that dream was The Never-Ending Story. Released in 1984, The Never-Ending Story came into my life at a time when I needed it most. The positive impact it had on me at an early age sparked the dream to one day create movies that made a positive impact on others, just as The Never-Ending Story had done for me. And in the 1980s, there was one word synonymous with filmmaking, and that was Hollywood, which for me makes this property that much more exciting, as it is just a few miles from the iconic Hollywood sign. This dream has come full circle because in a way I am making short movies about amazing properties and helping people realize their land dreams through the creative process. This property is located in Los Angeles, California. The submarket being the Hollywood Hills, and the micromarket being Laurel Canyon. And then if we want to go super microscopic, the property is located off Rothdell Trail, which is better known around the world as Love Street.
She lives on Love Street, lingers long on Love Street. She has a house and garden. I would like to see what happens.
What you just heard there are the opening lyrics for the famous song Love Street by The Doors. In 1967, The Doors released their self-titled debut album, The Doors, which included the hit single Light My Fire. The album was a commercial success and propelled the band to national fame. Their second album, Strange Days, also released in 1967, featured hits like People Are Strange and Love Me Two Times. In 1968, the band continued their success with the release of Waiting for the Sun, which included the hit Hello, I Love You, and the song Love Street. It was during this time they became one of the most popular rock bands in the entire world. And this half-acre property overlooks Jim Morrison's former home. And there are rumors, a legend if you will, which we cannot confirm or deny, that Jim Morrison would walk up onto this half-acre property to enjoy the breathtaking views from the higher elevation point where he could look down Laurel Canyon, capture the sunset, and gaze at the stars in the night sky. As you know, being out in nature, experiencing sunsets, gazing into the stars at night, all of these things are catalysts for creativity. And when your role is the lead vocalist and lyricist for one of the most popular rock bands in the entire world, what are you going to be doing the majority of your waking hours when you're not on tour performing? You're going to be writing and singing songs. It's been said that Jim Morrison lived in the Love Street home from around 1966 to sometime in 1968. And if we think about that time frame, The Doors released their self-titled debut album, The Doors, in 1967. And through the time there with his girlfriend Pam, he had the inspiration for the song Love Street, which is about his girlfriend Pamela Corson. So let's kind of summarize the situation. Jim Morrison and his girlfriend Pam move into the home at 8021 Rothdell Trail sometime around 1966. January 4th of 1967, the Doors released their self-titled debut album. In order to release the album on January 4th of 1967, there may have been a year's work behind the scenes doing everything necessary to create that album. And if we just look at this logically, there's a good probability that a lot of that creative energy was channeled around this property, and some of that may have even happened on the property. Now, there's no certificate that's going to come with your purchase of this property that says Jim Morrison wrote and sang songs here, but there is a lot of evidence supporting the legend that he did. And it wasn't just Jim Morrison and the Doors in Laurel Canyon. It was a musical hub, a mecca, if you will, for musicians at the time who were drawn to the creative energy of the area. Other artists who lived and or created music in Laurel Canyon at the time include Fleetwood Mac, Joni Mitchell, Frank Zappa, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, The Byrds, Buffalo Springfield, Linda Ronstadt, The Mamas and the Papas, and many more. The late 60s and early 70s was a turbulent time in our nation, along with many places around the world. To have all of these world-famous rock musicians concentrated in this small area must have led to some wild adventures. Who knows, maybe some of these artists got together with Jim Morrison and went and hung out on this property. Perhaps they had a party there. This is Jim Morrison's former home on Rothdell Trail, aka Love Street. And if we pull back a little bit, you can see Jim Morrison's home, along with the historic Canyon Country Store. In the song Love Street, there's another portion of lyrics that go, I see you live on Love Street. There's this store where the creatures meet. I wonder what they do in there. The Canyon Country Store is the location Jim is referring to in those lyrics. This is an LA Times article on the Canyon Country Store. The caption of the image reads, Tommy Bina with a guitar at the Canyon Country Store on Laurel Canyon Boulevard in Los Angeles, which he's owned since 1982. Bina has worked to keep the rock and roll spirit of Laurel Canyon alive through his shop. And around the corner in the same building as the Canyon Country Store, you'll find the highly rated Pace restaurant. Described as a cozy, romantic Italian eatery whose pizzas and pastas feature locally sourced and organic ingredients. Pace in Italian means peace, and the restaurant has a 4.5 out of 5-star rating from almost 500 Google reviews. We were able to find a historic image captured on Laurel Canyon Boulevard looking at the Canyon Country Store with this half-acre property in the background. This is a sign on Rothdell Trail commemorating Love Street. The sign reads, Love Street was written by the Doors about Rothdell Trail and the surrounding area in Laurel Canyon, where lead singer Jim Morrison and his girlfriend Pamela Corson resided. The song appears on their third album, Waiting for the Sun. The Doors are one of the most influential American groups in rock and roll history and embodied the communal and psychedelic spirit of the 1960s that coalesced in Laurel Canyon. In the beginning of this video, we talked about historical significance. And based on everything we've shared up to this point, I think we can agree that this property has some historical significance. And for some people, that alone is motivation to stake their claim on this half-acre property and add it to their collection of interesting lands. Perhaps create a collage of information that supports the legend. Have it framed, put it in your office, your den, use it as a conversation starter, or take it to a whole nother level and actually develop the property. The seller has performed some due diligence to determine that this is a buildable lot. The property is zoned Los Angeles R1, which allows for one residential home and one accessory dwelling unit, often referred to as an ADU. And there is already a driveway easement in place at the end of Rothdell Trail. And building a home on a property with this type of slope is commonplace in the Hollywood Hills. Now we're on Zillow and we're looking at sold properties in this microscopic pocket of Laurel Canyon. We're going to take a quick peek at these going from west to east. First, we'll look at 2160 Laurel Canyon Boulevard. The listing images are not available. Zillow shows it was sold for $1,761,000 on May 9th of 2022. If we scroll down to look at additional information about the property, it says it was built in 1911, which means that the home was 111 years old when it was sold in 2022. It's on 0.57 acres. The subject property we're discussing is 0.52 acres. It says it was listed on April 7th of 2022 for $1,299,000. It went contingent within 10 days, pending on May 1st, and then sold on May 9th of 2022 for $1,761,000, which means the property sold for about $462,000 more than the list price, 35% premium, and sold in just over 30 days from the date it was listed. Next, we'll look at 2144 Laurel Canyon Boulevard. It says it's a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom home, 1,774 square feet. Here's the overview of the property. It says it's 94 years old, built in 1928. The lot is only 4,807 square feet, which is less than a quarter of the size of the half-acre lot that we're presenting. And then if we look at the listing history, it was listed in August of 2022 for $750,000, but then the listing was removed. Perhaps that's when they did the renovation. They put it back on the market April 11th of 2024 for $1,399,000. It went contingent in about 2 months and then closed in just over 3 months since its list date for within about 5% of the list price. Zillow is saying it sold for $1,325,000. And that closed on July 15th of 2024. So this is fresh. Based on what I see here, not getting into the fine details, if this were my property, I would be very happy with that sale. Next, we'll look at 2108 Tavern Trail. This property is directly behind Jim Morrison's home. Let's click on that to view more information. If we scroll down, we're going to find that the home was built in 1922. It says the lot size is 2,970 square feet. To put that in an acreage comparison, it is 0.068 acres. That is tiny for a home. And if we look at the price history, there's a lot of historical data prior to 2024. So if we just focus on 2024 and we look at April 10th, 2024 as being the listing date, the property went contingent in just a week, pending in about a month and a half from the list date, and then it sold for full list price less than 60 days from the date it was listed. Having been built in 1922 and directly adjoining Jim Morrison's home, there's a potential that Jim, Pam, and his friends may have spent time on this property as well. Right here is the home, and just past it you can see the half-acre property right here. We have 2 more we'll look at on Rothdell Trail. The first one is 8011 Rothdell Trail. We'll view those details. And this home is 2-bedroom, 2 bathrooms with just 692 square feet of living space. It looks like it's very tastefully done. There's a lot of charm and character to it. Love all of the wood trim, the wood on the ceilings. We'll view some of the details on this property. And notice that they start the overview with, "She lives on Love Street." They go on to describe it as an enchanting historical former hunting cabin circa 1922. Let's look at some additional information about the property. The lot that it's on is 871 square feet. That equates to 0.019 acres. And now we'll look at the price history. Sold in 2004 for $455,000. Sold again in 2015 for $498,000. Within just over 2 weeks, it was listed for sale again for $649,000. Went pending in February of 2016 and then sold in March of 2016 for $660,000, which is more than what it was listed for. Actually, $11,000 more than what it was listed for. More than 8 years go by and the property is then listed again on May 6th of 2024 for a price of $880,000. The property went contingent in just 10 days and then pending on May 28th. Then closing on June 4th of 2024. This is a fresh sale, and Zillow is listing it as being sold for $920,000, $40,000 more than what it was listed for. And again, this just happened within the past 3 months. And this is the last one we're going to look at, which is 8000 Rothdell Trail. We'll view the details on this one. It says it's 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,343 square feet. We'll scroll down for the details. It says it was built in 1926 and that the lot is 2,166 square feet, which is 0.05 acres. This home also has a lot of charm and character. And if we look at just a few more pieces of information, the sales history shows it was listed on August 16th of 2023 for $799,000. The price was then raised 3 days later to $799,500. The property then went pending on September 2nd of 2023 and sold just 6 days later on September 8th of 2023 for $935,000. It was listed for $799,000. So it closed in less than 30 days for 16.9% more than what it was listed for. And this sale was completed within the last year. There's one more thing I want to show you. Let's zoom out just a minute and we'll go down Laurel Canyon Boulevard and then continue down Laurel Canyon Boulevard till you reach Hollywood Boulevard. And near this intersection, you're going to find this home for sale. 8015 Hollywood Boulevard. Let's look at the details. There's a home on the property that's said to be 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms at 2,880 square feet. The lot is being listed as 9,138 square feet, which is less than half the size of the half-acre Laurel Canyon lot that we're presenting. Let's scroll down and look at the description for a minute. And it says, calling all developers, land value opportunity, rare street-to-street lot zoned R3 property with endless possibilities, steps away from the famed Sunset Boulevard in Chateau Marmont, sold as a teardown for lot value. The seller will not make any repairs or give any credits. Buyer is advised to do all investigation and due diligence regarding the lot, including zoning, building, and city requirements. Seller will not allow any interior showings. Listing agent has never been permitted inside the property. No sight unseen offers. Call listing agent to view property from exterior or drive-by. Do not go direct. Cash buyers. This property is being sold for the lot value only. The land value only. The home is a teardown. The half-acre Love Street lot is only $997,000. And you can view all the property details on our website, landio.com. There you will find over 100 images of the property in the surrounding area. To view all the images, click the full screen icon, then the grid icon, which will enable you to view all of these images in the grid format. When you see one that you like, just click to enlarge. You can then continue to navigate through the images, or you can close the window. On the Map tab, you'll find an interactive map. You can zoom in on the map, or you can click this full screen icon, which will then enable you to view the property in a variety of ways. Below the Map and Images section, you're going to find the contact information for the listing agent, who is Catherine Mulley of Laguna Premier Realty. For questions or to purchase this property, please contact Tim Mulley, who is the property owner and son of the listing agent. You can reach Tim anytime by call or text at 518-694-1174. Again, that number is 518-694-1174. Continue scrolling down the page. You'll find additional information about the property and the surrounding area. The property taxes are $2,700 a year, and there is no HOA or HOA fees. Continue scrolling down. You'll find a detailed property description, along with the distances to nearby points of interest and links where you can find more information about those locations. Here we have the GPS coordinates and links where you can open those on a Google map. Now there is a downloadable KML file, which will then enable you to view the property on a software like Google Earth. You can also connect with Catherine and Tim by simply clicking this contact button and then providing just a few pieces of information. If you're looking for a different type of property or a property in another state, navigate to our website, landio.com, and then you're going to click on the Available tab. Here we have properties available across the United States, including Arizona, New Mexico, Alaska, Colorado, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, Florida, North Carolina, Texas, Alabama, Connecticut, South Carolina, and Georgia. And if you're a property owner, investor, developer, agent, or broker, and you have a property that you're looking to sell, click the Sell tab. It's located on the top of every portion of our website. Once you click this Sell button, it will open a simple form. This is a two-phase form. The first phase is to provide some contact information for you, and the second phase is information about the property. On behalf of myself, my family, and the entire team here at Landio, we sincerely appreciate your support and ask that you help us make the dream of land ownership come true for more people by sharing our website, our properties, and our videos with everyone that you know. Thank you, and God bless.
.com